Continuing on reading Capitalism and Society and putting integrity into finance purely a positive outcome. Positive model of integrity. It took economics over 100 years to wake up to the fact that the presumption of self-interest was flawed, even though the counter to self-interest behavior was right in front of all those years. The breakthrough in individual economics in large measure rewrites the economic script for analyzing human behavior. In this paper, we argue that the long-standing naive presumption of self-interest is parallel to the total lack of recognition that integrity, when revealed as a positive phenomenon, is a factor of production that is an important to success in all aspects of life as knowledge, technology, entrepreneurship, human capital, and physical and social capital. And the importance has been made invisible to us, though it is in plain sight. Integrity as a factor of production is undistinguished and therefore unmanaged. And as we said, its impact on life is huge. We have been involved in this research into purely positive theory of integrity since 2004, and the work is as yet incomplete. Okay. The way integrity has been historically framed, and as a consequence, the way in which integrity occurs for people obscures the powerful impact of integrity on the functioning of the world and life for every human being and human entity. Resolving this issue so that the impact of integrity becomes easily visible has required us to establish a new conversational domain for integrity, morality, ethics, and legality. This conversational domain retains the primal and fundamental meaning of each of these concepts as expressed in their dictionary definitions, but clarifies the definitions and makes each term distinct from the other and eliminating the mischief and ambiguity and confounding their overlapping definitions. Unfortunately, most people resist the creation of a new conversational domain because, by definition, it is unfamiliar to them. And the reaction often is, don't use all these new words and concepts. Just use plain English of the domain I am an expert in, say economics. This is equivalent to a first-year student of mathematics saying to the teacher, don't use all these new strange terms to communicate mathematics to me, like calculus or number theory. Just use plain English. Or similarly, with someone dealing with medicine, engineering, or physics. Obviously, that will not work because it is the conversational domain of each of these areas that provides access to mastery of the discipline. Our purpose here is to summarize our new model of integrity, introduce its required new terminology, and deal with the actual effects of integrity in life, with particular focus on corporate, market, personal, and policy issues in finance, governance, and compensation. Integrity definition. We start with the dictionary definition of integrity using Webster's New World Dictionary 1998. The quality or state of being complete, unbroken condition, wholeness, entirety. The quality or state of being unimpaired, perfect condition, soundness. The quality or state of being sound, being of sound moral principle, uprightness, honesty, and sincerity. We use the new word integrity in this work, relying on the Webster's definitions 1 and 2. Note that those two definitions define a purely positive phenomenon with no normative content. As we distinguish and use the word integrity, we do not include Webster's definition 3. That is, we do not use integrity to refer to the normative concepts of being, sound moral principle, uprightness, honesty, and sincerity, or to refer to an ethical or moral code or standard. or to denote anything about right versus wrong, good versus bad, desirable versus undesirable. Note that using moral in the definition of integrity confuses and confounds the meaning of each. What follows is one, a rigorous definition of integrity as a positive phenomenon, two, an explanation of the relation between integrity and workability, an explanation of the relation between workability and performance. We go on to define one, the relation between integrity and performance, two, the law of integrity, and three, the relation between integrity and value, derived in our process book. A positive theory of the normative value virtues, Erhard and Jensen. These are some of the fundamental terms that make up this new conversational domain that gives us access to integrity and its impact on the world. Integrity defined. For an object, system, or person, or other human entity or practice, the state of being whole, complete, unbroken, unimpaired, sound, in perfect condition. The relation between integrity and workability. Integrity, the state of being whole, complete, unbroken, unimpaired, sound, in perfect condition, is necessary and sufficient condition for maximum workability, capable of producing the desired effect or result. The relation between workability and performance. Workability capable of producing the desired effect or result is necessary but not sufficient to the condition for performance. However, one wishes to define performance. However, one wishes. The law of integrity. As the integrity state of being whole and complete, an object, system, person, or human entity or practice declines, workability declines, and as workability declines, the opportunity for performance declines. The relation between integrity and value. Integrity is therefore a necessary but sufficient condition for the long run value maximization. The long neglected positive role of integrity in finance and economics. As we have said, finance and economics scholars tend to avoid discussions or considerations of integrity because it has occurred to them as normative. However, integrity, as we have defined it, is in this new model is purely a positive phenomenon for any object, system, human entity, or human practice. Integrity, as we distinguish it for each of these four, is observable. That is, an object, system, a human entity, or human practice is either observable, whole, complete, unbroken, unimpaired, sound, in perfect condition, or it is not. Furthermore, it is an inescapable conclusion that as whole and complete, etc., declines, workability declines. And as workability capable of producing the desired effect or result declines, the opportunity for performance declines, however one wishes to define performance. Hence, the effect of integrity on the opportunity for performance, including value, productivity, quality of life, and the like, is purely positive. Is purely a positive proposition. Our posited link between integrity and workability and consequently value is no more normative than the posted link between the traditional net present value for value rule for investment decisions and corporate value. Long run value maximization requires integrity is a positive proposition that is testable and potentially refutable. And the empirical effects on integrity or its absence have too long been ignored in finance and economics. In our framework, as we have said, integrity is a necessary but not sufficient condition for long-run value maximization. For example, if you have integrity and thus a large opportunity for performance, but you are committed to only a small game in life, for example, I will wake up in the morning, then you are not likely to create anything of value in spite of having integrity. In fact, for an organization to create maximum value, it must also create and execute brilliant competitive organizational, technological, and human strategies in addition to integrity. Integrity for an object or system. An object or system has integrity when it is whole and complete. An object without integrity doesn't work. Think of a wheel with a missing spoke. It is not whole and complete and therefore is not stable. It will become out of round, work less well, and eventually stop working entirely. For an object or system to be in integrity, it must satisfy satisfy where do we go here? Hold on one second. To be whole and complete, it must satisfy the following conditions. One, the design must be in integrity. That is, the design must be whole, complete, unbroken, sound, in perfect condition. With the intended purpose, specifically, the design, when executed, must be capable of producing the intended result or performance. The implementation of the design must be in integrity. That is, the implementation of the design must be whole, complete, unbroken, sound, in perfect condition, consistent with the design itself. Specifically, the implementation of the design must in fact realize the object or system is designed as designed. The use of the implemented object must or system must be in integrity. That is, the use of it must be whole, complete, unbroken, sound, in perfect condition, consistent with the intended purpose of the design. Specifically, the use of the object or system must be allowed by its design and be consistent with its design purpose. For example, a 200-pound man using a life vest designed for a 50-pound child will drown unless he can swim. By the way, the foregoing also applies to the integrity of a human system as a system such as a partnership or corporation taken as a system. All right, we'll continue with integrity for a person or human entity, family, group, organization, society, and a nation as we go forward. Hope you're having a great day. Super Mario Brothers 3, peace out.